So guys, watch this.
So he gets a triple grip every single time, bro. Every single time. Every single time he gets a triple grip. No!
So this is me facing Crusader on one of my Paladins, and I just 5-1'd him. I could have 6-0'd him, but there was a round that I thought I was good, and I didn't bubble. Just like he did there, the DK grips me out of the darkness, and I died. Same thing just happened there. I could have bubbled and probably could have 6-0'd him. So, Crusader, who's a 20 or 30 time rank 1 Paladin, whatever he says he is, it goes up by 10 each season, so I can't keep track anymore. How is a multi-glide Paladin 5-1ing Crusader? Well, I'll show you why. If you look at the healing here, 47 million healing to 36. That's like a third more. Okay, if you look at the damage, I did 700k to 2.9. Does it look like spamming Denounce won him any rounds? No, it sure as hell didn't. And I always preach how bad Denounce is, and every Paladin that I face that runs it, my hopes get up that I just build this confidence like, oh, I'm gonna win because this guy's an idiot running Denounce for one. He runs Searing Glare every game. Do I run Searing Glare every game? Hell no. Rarely ever. Some matchups, yeah, I will, but usually no. So why did he lose so many rounds? Because he's focused on spamming Denounce when people aren't topped, when he could be using them for wogs and healing, and he's running in for Searing Glares when he should be sitting back and healing, and he's running in for Searing Glares that do not matter, and he's letting people die, and he's getting put in CC. So let's see what else he has to say.
Bro, are you kidding me?
Nope, we're not kidding you, man.
Is so bad. That's what I mean. He gets 2 wins and gets 28 rating at 2500 CR. Like, what? Bro! Like, it's actually unreal. I was just about to full heal myself, too.
No, you weren't. You didn't even bubble.
Legit the worst of the worst. The Pally is legit the worst of the worst. I outplay him all game.
Yeah, so you can see the guy's totally delusional. So I'm going to give you a guide from the AKA worst of the worst Paladins. Even though, you know, I am the highest HPAL in 2s on NA. I haven't queued in a couple weeks, so I think the next highest HPAL, well, I'm actually the second highest HPAL, like 23 something on my ult, and after that it's like they're 2250 and it goes down. So I'm by far the highest HPAL in NA. Not that that really means anything. I just think that 2s is not a very popular bracket, and HPAL especially is not very good in 2, so I think people give up on it very easily. I've queued with an Aflock and a Arms Warrior for most of it. Both are pretty good. And why am I able to get 2400 in 2s? Because I sit back and I heal. That is your number one job on HPAL, is to sit back away from everyone, the enemy healer, the DPS. Make it hard for them to CC you, and you spam heal. If you guys watch my last guide, it's still up because it's going to still be relevant. A lot of this stuff has not changed from last patch. There's just like a few things that I'll do differently. The rotation is basically the same for healing, so you guys can go watch that. It's basically spam flashes of lights with infusion procs. You know, you're not a WoG Holy Shock bot. You have to cast Flash of Lights, or you will not be getting high rated on HPAL. If you do, it's probably because you're getting carried. Now, the gear, this is the gear. I go mostly Mastery, 66%, 14% versatility. I'm playing more versatility this season, basically because I have to with the tier set. And haste is 14, crit 31. I like my crit above 30%. I don't like it lower. It's just not reliable. You won't get infusion of lights procs, etc. I would, if you were running something similar to this, what you could do is drop haste and put it into versatility. The way you would do that is you would drop your 4 set and just run 2 set, and then replace a piece like this that has a shit ton of haste, and then you would just run the 2 set, because it'll be around 12% increased healing when you drop that 4 set and replace it with Verse Mastery piece of gear. Now, I haven't really committed to that. I've tried it a little bit. I don't know if it's better or not, because it feels kind of weird, because the haste makes it feel fluid. When you drop down to 7% haste, it feels like your globals are very slow, even though you're doing that 12% increased healing. I'm just not sure if it's worth yet. And on top of that, you get 6 seconds off Daybreak, which doesn't sound huge, but in a solo shuffle, it could be the difference between someone dying and someone living. So I'm thinking there's certain matchups where you're not relying on Daybreak to save someone, or you need more consistent healing. that you'd probably drop the 4 set and just run 2 set. Now, talents, there's a couple of important things to note here. Basically the same as last season. Now you'll basically always take Barrier of Faith. Why? Because you're not really worried about mana. You only never took that because sometimes you would in solo shuffles if it went on long enough, and this is just a mana burn. But you don't really get to that now. I'll tell you why. Because this season, solo shuffles are on average a minute 30, maybe up to like 2 minutes. That's probably the average. Sometimes they go 2.5 minutes. But it's not like last season when it was more common than not to get to 80%, 90% dampening sometimes. And the solo shuffles would be, on average, probably 2.5 to 3 minutes plus. Now it's way lower than that, so I don't think I've ever really lost a game because of mana. You will if you're not spamming flashes of lights, though. You'll probably let someone die, or you have to spam flashes of lights. That is your main form of healing. I can't stress that enough. You take single glimmer. Don't watch Crusader. I do not take Hand of Hindrance. That is garbage. This is beautiful, just beautiful. Sometimes you'll want to switch it. Remember I talked about dropping some of this and going specking into Consecrate. If there's 2 casters, this you can get really huge wogs, especially if you drop your 4 set and then replace it with Verse Mastery 2 set, and then you get this 20% on top of it. I think I was getting like 140 average wogs and like up to 220k wogs. Like you can get some crazy healing out of this when you're not able to cast versus double caster. Other than that, versus if you get like an assassination rogue in the lobby, drop this, drop whatever you. Actually, you don't even have to take this. I don't know. I think I'm spec 2s or something. But you would take Cleanse the Weak and you would play this, right? Another thing is I've been taking Awakening most times because the game's draw. It can be really helpful to get some Holy Shock crits and then just have increased healing for a little bit. Other than that, if I feel like I don't need it, if I just need wings aren't going to help me, I'll just take Inquisitor. Now, the main thing is, if you're facing a DK, you can drop either one of these. I like these to make sure my DPS are like always freedom, so I usually drop Divine Vision. You're going to want to take Judgment of the Peer. Now, why is that? Because a lot of times, let's say you're trying to survive DK goes, and then he does another one, and you have no bubble anymore, you have no sack, you have no trinket. He stuns you and he's on your boomkin, let's say. And then he strings you off and your boomkin's at like 20% and he dies in the strangulate, right? And you had Lay of Hands yet. You're like, oh fuck, I couldn't get it off. I have no trinket, no bubble to get out of that. Well, you take Judgment of the Peer because when he grip stuns you, when he strangulates you, you Judgment the DK, it removes your strangulate, and you can use abilities. I found that I have abilities to use, I just might not have trinket or bubble to get out of the strang, but if I just lived somehow those 3 seconds, someone would live. So I started taking this, and it's worked out way better because DKs are so prevalent in shuffle above like 2k. It's just like they just run rampant. Same thing with boomkins. These classes have a lot of on-demand bursts, but it's very predictable when it's going to be. It's going to be in a root beam, and you're cloned, or you're the stun, grip, strangulate go. So versus a boomkin, if you're root beamed, you just target the boomkin, Judgment, you're out of the root beam. But other than that, I take these. I might take Searing Glare if it's a boomkin or feral that's being ignored. Or maybe like a TSG you're facing where they're on like a boomkin and they're in front of you and you can Searing Glare the warrior and the DK. But other than that, these are very niche uses that I don't recommend taking. Other than that, you really don't take anything else. Sometimes versus DKs, I'll take Hollow Ground. It's really good if they're training you down and you're running out of freedoms. You can use this instead and try to save your freedom so you can always get away. This is actually really good for warriors too, because it actually counts. I think even Windwalkers, it counts for. They have like a slow or whatever, but I don't know what it is. But the warrior, I think it's their like shout thing that's AOE slow or something. It works for that. So I take this in 2s. If you're in 2s and you're facing a warrior, I'll always take Hollow Ground because if he wants to train me around a pillar, that's fine. He can get to let's say I'm at a pillar, and I have a horse, but I have no freedom and I can't get away. I'll just this, and he can never catch up to me again. He can't slow me through the pillar with a shout or whatever it is. He can never catch me. So I can just always save freedom for my DPS or save it when I really need it and not run out. So always consecrate ground first. I don't know if I already told you that. I've been playing with an Aflock and a warrior in 2s. That's how I got there. 3s, I've been playing a little bit of Walking Dead. And this was just with LFG. The 2s, I found some decent people to play with and I've added them and I've got there. But other than that, guys, there's not a whole lot that's changed with HPAL. If you watch my guide on the last patch. It's basically the same healing rotation and tips and tricks I talk about. Just a few things to add, like, you know, don't be spamming denounce or thinking you need to run in for Searing Glares. The main thing from this guide is you sit back, you avoid CC, and you make sure everyone is healed and let them do the work. The time will come when you see, like, let's say you have a Warlock on your team and you've seen the healers feared and everyone's topped. You can horse in and get a rep off that. Don't be trying to run through DPS and think you're going to escape CC, because it's just not going to happen, you know? And like at the beginning of a shuffle, if you're try to hold your trinket, it's a minute 30 now. So I don't take adapt anymore. I've not fucked around with adapt because I just don't think it's worth it. Last season I was always adapt because 2 minutes was enough. A minute 30 seems to be okay. I'm sure there's certain matches you can get adapt. I haven't even bought an adapt trinket. May have to test around with that. But like, try to hold your trinket. It is so okay to be like, I'm gonna sit this and come out and lay of hand someone at the start. It is so okay to do that. It's unreal. Like I feel like people try to hold cooldowns. Lay of hand should be something, like I said, you want to get rid of it like pretty quickly. Not like you're just gonna like sit back and not heal and just throw it out at the start just to counter it. No, you want to make sure you're not like wasting cooldowns or not using it when you have to. But lay of hand should be thrown out within like 30 seconds to a minute, because they're all popping their big CDs. The last thing you want to do is bop. Remember, you want to save your 2 bots for later. That is the difference between winning games and losing games, is when you bop too early, or you have to. And sometimes you have to. The DPS aren't helping you, and if you don't bop him, he's going to die. But if you do it too early, you're going to lose rounds. So that's basically what to take away from it. Other than that, not a whole lot. You could also be running BM versus like the DK teams that strang you. So you can BM out of the stun. Let's say it's DH, DK, and they're getting micro CCs, DR stun, and then it comes that strangulate. You could BM, give yourself a second, and then get that judge off. Just enough to get that judge off and get out of the strang, and it gives you a little bit more padding. So that's where I am with that. So yeah, there you go.